Welcome back to the Excellecore Real Estate channel. By now you should know, if you watched any of our previous videos, that I don't want you making decisions based on fear. I want you as educated as possible, and I want to be your guide to find your next house or to sell your next house if you live here in the Central Florida area. Now, that was a previous video that we did. If you haven't seen it, I'm going to put a link down to it below. It's called 6 Hurdles to Buying a Home. And in some of the previous videos we talked about, okay, you've already gotten pre-approved. Now you're ready to start looking for houses. Let's talk about that today. Here we go. All right. There is a special feature on our website at excellecorealestate.com, and it's called Market Insider. Market Insider. Okay. Real estate is all about what? You can say it's about a lot of things, but at its basic form, it's all about location. It's one of the first things they teach you in real estate school is it's all about where the property is located. So a property here in Florida is going to cost different amounts of money than it would in California or Kansas City or in North Carolina, okay? So real estate is all about location. But let's assume for a second that you are unfamiliar with the area here in Central Florida. What do? You go to excellecorealestate.com and you click on the little tab that says Market Insider. What is Market Insider going to help you with? Now, one of the first things it's going to help you with is to figure out the area and where are properties predominantly owned, where are properties predominantly rented, and where are higher vacancy rates. We don't want to see a whole lot of vacancy rates. If we see a whole lot of vacancy rates, we potentially are seeing an area that is depressed or suppressed in value. It might not be the best area if you're looking to actually live there. If you're looking to invest there, maybe have different goals, that's a different video altogether. But if you're looking to live there, I would shy away from high vacancy rates, and Market Insider is going to help you with the percentage of properties that are vacant. The other thing is the percentage of properties owned versus the percentage of properties rented. Same kind of scenario. The higher the ownership rate in an area, typically the higher the values will go over time. Next thing we're going to talk about on Market Insider is household income. Now, why is that even important? If values start to rise in any given city and the incomes don't keep up, eventually those properties tend to default because they just can't pay for the increases of the property. They try to really stretch themselves, or if it's a two-family or two-person income household, it makes it a little bit more difficult if one of those family members loses their job. So we want to pay attention to household income and that it's in line with where the prices are. Can it sustain the mortgage of the prices in the area? Next thing we're talking about on Market Insider is education levels. It actually tracks how many people have graduated high school, how many individuals have went to college, how many people have gotten a master's or a doctorate degree, and you will see a correlation between obviously education levels and income levels. Another thing that Market Insider will track for you that I think is very important, especially for families that are moving to the area, is the crime risk. And this actually breaks down various kinds of crime and it compares it to a national average. So there's going to be a national average line, and then it's going to compare all those different kinds of crime to the national average. And I'm happy to inform you that in Land O'Lakes, Lutz, New Tampa, Wesley Chapel, overall the crime risk is well below the national average. Another thing that's going to track for you, another risk factor, is weather risk. Now, why would that necessarily be important? And I will say this, weather risks here in Florida are different than weather risks up north and weather risks in the Midwest. And so weather risk here potentially is usually surrounding hurricanes, is usually surrounding big storms, lots of water in short periods of time. And again, why that's important is if you get into an area that is in a flood zone, and there are a lot of them through several parts of Florida, you're going to be required to get flood insurance if you get a loan. And so that will directly impact your mortgage payment each and every month. So that might determine where, how far do you want your dollar to go? Well, if you have to pay for flood insurance because an area is a little bit more risky, then you might not be able to get as much of a house than you would in an area that wasn't a flood zone. And then lastly, I want to talk about something that I think is very important to most families that are moving to the area, and that is schools. So Market Insider will track a lot of things, places of worship, restaurants, all kinds of things, but it really does a great job with schools, and here's why. You can actually click into the schools by zip code, click into them and get their school rating, not only the school rating, but the teacher to student ratio, so you can keep track of some of the better areas where your kids will be educated the best. And I know that's just important to a lot of parents. And so it does track all these various things. So here's the deal. If you're looking for homes, locations is what it's all about. So I want you to be as familiar as possible. Again, that's the second thing I want you to do. Be as educated as possible, and Market Insider is going to help you do that. So go to excellecorerealestate.com. Up at the top, you'll see a tab that says Market Insider. Click that tab, put in the zip code that you're looking at, and it's going to give you a breakdown. You can even compare zip codes if you want to and just see how do these things factor against one another. Oh, I would rather be in this zip code than this one. And so do that. Remember, we want to get you as educated as possible because we don't want decisions based on fear. And if you're coming to the Central Florida area, I want to be your guide. I want to be your real estate agent. I appreciate you guys watching these videos. I would also appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up if you did like it. Like, share, and subscribe. It would greatly help us out. And remember, as always, excellence is at the core of who we are. We'll see you next time.